Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And I want to review the lyrics in a song that I like. Maybe you've heard of it. The band that is, Dead Can Dance, hugely popular in the 90s and 2000s. And they have a song from one of their breakout albums called How Fortunate the Man with None. And if you know anything about this band, just a little bit of background, they are a little bit avant-garde, for lack of a better way to say it. They have a very kind of mystical, spiritual tone to their music. It's very deep music. If you take the time, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Check out their music, it's great. But this particular song covers some interesting subject matter, and I want to talk about the messages in the song. It's a story about how people throughout history, especially men, who have dared to reach for greatness, to wager a bet on their own success by becoming high profile and obtaining, a profile, some kind of visibility, some kind of success, and with a great deal of influence, sometimes they always meet a bad end. That's the point of the song. It says, "How fortunate the man with none," as opposed to the people that you hear about in the song, such as Socrates and Caesar, and these people who are all killed off, basically. And you don't need to know all the history behind these people to understand the message. You can just listen to the song and appreciate it. But for example, Socrates was thought to be above telling lies. That was his thing in his time. At that point in history, they were still undecided about the nature of truth and the nature of reality. They had a debate, some kind of meeting and council, a convening of a committee, if you will, where they decide to put Socrates on trial. They put him on trial because he claimed to never lie. He said, "I do not lie. I speak only the truth." And they said, "Okay, well, let's check it out. Let's see what happens." And I have a point to make about all these examples, but I'll start with this one. So he failed their test because it was rigged. It was rigged because, if you ask me, every single one of the examples in this song and outside of this song where people reach for greatness, it's a wager, like I said, on behalf of the people reaching, the people who are aspiring and believing in themselves enough so that they take a chance on risking persecution and trial, so to speak. But the wager is not one that cannot be won. Hear me out. So what I mean to say is, every time a person does this, every time such as Caesar or Socrates reaches for greatness, and of course they reached it, most of them, and then got cut down is the point in the song, but they didn't have to get cut down by other people. I believe that after a person reaches for that kind of thing, after they make a bold statement that they honestly believe, such as Socrates saying he doesn't tell a lie, he is then asked to clarify what he means in a very real and serious way, which is exactly what happened. They said, "Okay, if you can navigate through this trial, I guess we'll have to believe you." But he was unsuccessful, wasn't he? It was rigged, and many times the trial is not fair, and you're supposed to bring a bigger package to the interrogation, if you will. You're supposed to bring a full package, because I believe the people of the world, whoever are confronted by these bold claims, such as were made by Caesar and Socrates, they have a question, an ongoing question. Are you the one? Are you the one who speaks the truth, who has the knowledge that we need? Are you the one who can beat this trial? So the point of the song, unfortunately, is a little misguided. If you ask me, I appreciate its wisdom, but it's also cynical. It's cynical because it says, "How fortunate the man with no honesty." It actually says that in the lyrics. How fortunate the man with no honesty. And that misses the point. The point, if you ask me, is that he was unprepared. He was unprepared for a double standard, for some kind of, dirty trial. And what he really needed to do was prepare his case beforehand. And I don't think he was ready for that. Honestly, you can't say he was, because he ended up getting killed. But there's an answer to this. For example, and my point isn't the answer to his question or his trial, but a bigger question of how does somebody beat an unfair trial in those circumstances? But in this case, with Socrates, what he should have said is that the truth is not based on the symbols, but the intention, the intended meaning of the words. It is possible to only tell the truth if one aims to be accurate at all times. And that's what he should have said. Unfortunately, at his time, they had not figured that out yet. And he didn't figure it out, apparently. But that's the nature of telling the truth. It's about intentions. It's about the direction you're trying to go in, not the snapshot or what it might also fit. And we still struggle with this today, don't we? We struggle with symbol abuse and people trying to take things out of context, redirect their meaning, and frame people badly in the interest of competition or just sabotage. And unfortunately, there's still an opportunity. It's the same opportunity that there always has been. So, last thing I want to say is, placing a wager does not mean you are unfortunate. Reaching for greatness, aspiring to great heights, believing in yourself is not a bad move, contrary to the message of the song. It is actually a very good move if you know what you're doing. Very last thing I'll say is, you only hear about the tragedies. You don't hear about the people who actually beat the trial, because it was, by definition, uneventful. There was no news to tell. They won. People like to hear a tragedy, so you hear about it. Historically and in modern times with the news. Reach out if you like with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.